I was scrolling my timeline, you know, and when I scroll my timeline, my perception is different about the things that I'm seeing. Let's I am a Tip fan. All right, some of y'all know that. And I was just, looking at one of his videos, right? Y'all remember big things stopping and little things popping? That's for you. Cause he backwards. I wanna say to all of you, Inekana Sasha Ketia Sifinio. When I am here, that means you don't have a thought. Isifinio Asasha Kati. Listen, when I'm doing my lives in a Sifia or Sasasha Kati, you don't disturb me. Ifinio Sasasha Kati. Now, y'all, this is what I'm talking about when I am speaking. You wanted it on camera, Asifino. Now you can fall. Now, let's talk about T.I. Big things popping and little things stopping. What they are isifinas. When you all are on camera, you entertainers, you notice things, right? You notice things. Some of you talk and you want to say one thing and then something else comes out. It is because of G, the big G, not because of a wannabe pantheon. You all have to understand to stop calling on these things to come and help you. If it's in Sasha Kati, I'm not taking nothing off of nobody without no cash. It's on all of y'all entertainers, and I'm not talking about Tip. When you came in this live, you decided that you want to start throwing out words to see if I repeat them. When I already told you one time before that I am not the fraction that is monitoring you. But for some reason, you feel like you want to convince somebody that you're telling me what to say. If you see now, Stephen, some of y'all got to understand what is taking place. When I'm talking about timelines, I'm talking about this goofball that is somewhere else, and he knows he's somewhere else. Let me tell you something. Anything that talks in your mind don't want no smoke with me. Absolutely none. I promise you. Listen, I came on to talk about some serious topics. The big G will do that to you. You'll be sitting there, you wanting to have a conversation about a certain thing, right? This is for ascended beings. A lot of y'all know y'all ascended beings. If you in front of the camera and you have a persona, or if you have some sort of fame, okay, you'll be wanting to talk about certain things in a certain manner, and then the big G will throw a sakina on you. And you be like, it'll take you a minute to get back. So some of y'all experiencing that. You artists, you celebrities, it's a timeline. I say big things popping and little things stopping, because that's what I listened to before I came on live. What I noticed about that video is he was talking to himself, a different version of himself. This is right in alignment with what I'm talking about. Everything that communicates telepathically is not angels. Somebody said yesterday, I know I'm important. So I should know who my universe parents are. You didn't even know that that was a thing until you watch me. Which brings me to another topic. Y'all celebrities need to stop watching me and then deciding you have inspiration for your lies and giving somebody else the credit. I don't like it. Don't even say nothing that I'm talking about if you're not going to give me credit. That's period, point blank. And I'm serious about it. Listen, he was in this video, he was working out, talking to himself. The version that left was the boldest version. This is right in alignment with what I'm talking about when it comes down to do with the paradigm shift. Ascension. The version that leaves is the ascended being. If that means you got to go dark to leave, that's what's going to happen. Because they'll try to play you. There's so many different types of beings. Y'all got to understand, when I started going through the conscious gate, there's a lot of things that I didn't do, a lot of things that I didn't say. A lot of information just came to me. I just woke up with all this knowledge, but I didn't know the ledge. When you start following trends and following what works for other people, you don't realize that it don't work for you until you are suffering from the consequences. I know when my team is talking because are communicating, are in my energy, because they don't do that. The underworld don't do that. Not to me, they don't. Y'all sit back and y'all say y'all pantheons now, you know what I'm saying? Before y'all was beasts and savages and all of this other stuff. Now y'all the dark fraction, dark angels and all of this stuff. And you think that this is just like common knowledge. Then you go and put it in your songs, you put it in your lives and all of this stuff. And people say they watch ether. Nobody's walking around doing, saying, and all of this other ass. You know what I'm saying? Y'all faulty. This is what y'all did with all the great historians. You never gave them credit when they was walking. Y'all waited until they got popular to start quoting them and trying to live a lifestyle like they live. That's faulty. Y'all gotta understand, timelines are important. Dissecting the lyrics to big things popping and little things stopping in the video, because those are two key points of what I'm talking about. It's like that with every ascension. When you decide that you don't need to ascend no more because your money is good and what you think about your health, your body is good, you realize later on that that is not the place you need to be. Ascension is humbling. You find out a lot about your environment, your body, and your mind when you go through ascension. I want to talk about dementia because that is a timeline. Some people say that dementia is something that needs to be eradicated, right? But when you don't know that being, you don't know how old that being is, you don't know the contract that that being has in the body or out of the body, it's explainable. When you have dementia, you travel through your mind. Alzheimer's is something else. You go places in your mind, and you may or may not come back. Now, I didn't look at all the specifics regarding dementia, but I know it deals with the mind. Anything that is associated with cognizance deals with the mind. Everyone, even the professionals that will surely see this, needs to understand that it's spiritual first. If you go like this and you hit your body, you feel pain. You know that the body is a mechanic. When I seen a skeleton for the first time and the skin off of a body, I said, this is how they came up with robots. This is connected to this. This is connected to this. It's layers, right? Because if you were to see a body without skin, for someone like me, you would say, this is like a robot. What makes the eyes open? There's a mechanism inside of that robot that when it switches on, the eyes open. The same with the being. There's something inside of this. One is connected to this, the other is connected to this, and when it all functions correctly, or what you feel is correctly, everything is in sync. You can't have the heart without the mind without the body without the feet, the brain, the digestive system, and what we call hemoglobin. You need it all, so we believe, right? Well, either can a body move without a heart? That is a good question. Y'all remember Bionic Man? Robo COP? Some of him was a robot and the other was a body. I imagine somewhere they're trying to figure that out for a superior race. You know what I'm talking about? I just said it really quickly. Anything that is important to people that feel like that is the most important topic. I said it. You travel in your mind. The thing about when you start talking about terminology in the medical field, everything has a meaning. So if you have the pleasure of sitting in front of anyone that knows that language, they're going to talk to you in terminology. And if you don't understand what they're saying, you're not going to get it. When I was in the medical field briefly, what I noticed was coding. The billing part is something totally different, but the coding. It's things that'll let you know just by the way it's broken down what they're talking about. And if you're not in that field, you won't understand. They spend their whole adult lives learning this coding. I'm not sure if every so often for these physicians, specialists, practicing practitioners, if they have to go get recertified, because that would be a thing, you know? I imagine you would need to be recertified for that type of field so you'll have a good understanding of what you're talking about. Because what if something new comes up? I said practicing because that's what a practitioner is. You know what I'm talking about? That means we're going to do it over and over and over again till we perfect it on you, them, us. What part of that you don't understand? You understand? When I talked about specialists the other day, y'all didn't get it. That means they reached the pinnacle of their profession, and that takes eons to do. That's what we believe. But what if they just astronomically just woke up with all of the ledge knowing it? It just miraculously happened, you know. Y'all know that there's a difference between time warps, wormholes, voids, ciphers. They're not all the same. When y'all say, I'm going to the cipher tonight, and then you get in and everything is all black or whatever, red, blue, green, it does something to your mind. Like, what if somebody just decided one day to shut all the power off? I imagine that is how the big G is, right? Here we are thinking we're healthy. We're eating all the right food. We done went to the old turd, put a doc in front of it, and he said, you are a clean bill of health. Ha ha ha. Pay me. Because from my understanding, that's all they do nowadays. Y'all know what I'm talking about? The ones at the bottom, the ones that come in, those are the ones that work the hardest. You know how long it takes before you see a RN, LVN, a doctor? You know, I mean, it's a protocol for that. You got to start at the bottom. You got to get all kind of referrals and all kind of tests have to be done before you can see them. You know what I'm talking about? That's like high ranking. Could you imagine being high ranking in your field of profession? Like, how much money do y'all make? I hope it's a lot. I mean, after you went through all of those terminology books and you didn't, I could be wrong, right? Maybe that's just my era. You know, when I did it, I did a fast track course. So it could be different. I told y'all about me going into this class, right? Fa la 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 la. Today is the day that we're going to draw hemoglobin off of each other. What? What? Listen, if the fast track mean you gotta pass everything. You ain't passing it, you're not graduating. That mean we done broke everything down into key sections, okay? And if you don't pass this section, you're gonna take it over and over and over and over and over again. And at the end, guess what? You're not accredited. It means absolutely nothing. Listen, I'm like, okay, I'm picking who is going to draw my hemoglobin in my mind. Because you got to have a crew, you know? First off, I'm going to everyone that does their homework. If you copying off of me or her, the person in my crew for sure about it. You not drawing my hemoglobin. No, you not. So everybody's sitting there looking at each other like, all of my crew, we was all black. And it may have been one or two Hispanics, but we was all black. Listen, we said, we all sit in the group every day, and we all teaching each other. You understand what I'm saying? All of a sudden, somebody say, ah! And it's splurt hemoglobin everywhere. Everybody moving. That is how I know about OSHA and HIPAA, because I was actually there. You don't know that stuff until you enter. Let me tell you something. At that point, nobody wanted to move because we knew. All of my crew, we all knew what was going to happen. Because they don't do their homework. You know? So I imagine that's how it is when you go into that institution. You don't know who you're going to get. You might get the crew that I didn't want to be in. Or you can get somebody like me. That's how it is. You know? Let me tell you. When I did my externship at a specialist clinic, this was a doctor that had his own facility. I told y'all about this. I said, this is the place where I want to work. Yes, it is. He buy everybody lunch on Friday. You may get a rose. You know, he was smooth. One of his specialties that he offered there was acupuncture. Well, guess what? It was a whole bunch of people like me in his facility. And some people don't know what they're doing. That's just how it is. You know? That's what you know. It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Why it's important is some of y'all got a misconception about the world. Imagine how you were when you were in school. Some people got to learn English first before they learn medical terminology. You know what I'm saying? It's a giving. You have to know English first. You know what I'm talking about? That book is so big, it is impossible for you to remember everything in that book unless you're a robot. We had books. Them books is expensive. I said, you know how long I carried that book? I carried that book from city to city until somebody took it. And the person that took it don't even know nothing about what's taking place in there. The same with my cosmetology books. When I entered into any type of instructions, I always kept the books. The same when I went to become a professional school bus driver. These books are expensive. It's stuff in there that you will only be taught if you're in that field. The thing about it is, we're going to bring it back to Tip. Y'all don't know what he good at. Some of y'all know of him well enough to know that he was in a college. Did he go to a university? We don't know. He's intelligent. You can tell by his lyrics. He's not the only one. That's what I can say when you start talking about the South for my era. These are men and males that got instruction. Possibly New York. You know, they went to school. So when they introduced all of these words like ether to y'all thought it was cool, but you never thought, the majority of y'all never thought to look it up. What is they talking about? You know, it was a timeline where I just listened to the music, to the instruments. And I remember when I actually heard Erykah Badu for the first time. I had been listening to her just about all my life, my adult younger years. But I didn't really hear until I got in my 30s. And I had to stop, wait a minute. And you know, you start saying sassafras, woo woo woo, woo woo woo, sassafras. This what she talking about? It just sound good. There's just something about the music and the voice. It sounds good. You listen, but you don't hear. Some people do believe that music will program you. And this is why I tell you don't listen to brown noise. Because when I listen to brown noise, I hear something totally different. As an ascended being, it's things that you shouldn't do. It may have worked when you was over there, but not when you here. Which brings me to Mr. Banner. He was steaming, grilling up some beef, right? And I said, that looked good. I'm not a beef eater. I don't like the way it tastes in my mouth. I would prefer to eat pork, you know. But that's just my preference. That don't mean I'm going out every day and putting pig in my mouth. Because some of y'all, you know, if I say something, y'all feel like, you know, this goes to get everything Noble Drew Ali taught me. You know what I'm talking about? I was sitting in my mind, right? Politicking. Yo. And I started thinking about what I know about Bobby Hemmett, the black one. You know, because some people feel like I watch him and I get my content off of him. No, I don't watch him. You don't know what Bobby Hemmett is talking about in any fraction. Absolutely nothing. You would not be able to understand, overstand nothing that he talking about. Let me tell y'all something. Most males that I know, when I entered into the conscious gate, they stayed away from him. He was talking about set and all that. No. No. The misconception about him is that he was losing it. So when y'all start talking about Bobby Hemmett, like everybody, you know, in the conscious community respect him, they gonna say he didn't listen to either. Let me say something, because I seen videos of him periodically. Okay, he was in the BP movement. He was, but when he ascended, he said that's not for him. Y'all know that he was a vegan, vegetarian, and y'all know that. And then after he ascended, he picked up a little weight. He got a tummy. So some of y'all feel like, You know, that's proof right there because he got a belly and this and that and whatever. That ain't, you know, he knew what he needed at that time. You can't function properly without all of the minerals, protein, and distortion. Y'all don't feel like y'all feel like everything has to be pure. You know, I told y'all when I first realized that organic don't mean what y'all think it mean. It don't. Like imagine just imagine just walking around Earth, right? Everything you think you're eating is pure, and then you just breathing in toxins all day. That means you're ticking time, BOMB. It just don't make sense. We are not a part of that timeline where we can eat organic. What if I told you, Neil, that for you to ascend to your rightful place, that means you have to eat something that is processed. When I would go into my refrigerator, I had organic this, organic that, freeze dried. You know, I had grills. I did not eat any type of flesh. You know, I was perfect. I was perfect, y'all. Then all of a sudden you just be like, well, I feel like I'm gonna pass out. I just feel like something not right. You know? Let me tell you something. When you go to a level, right, you start noticing things. Time warps happen instantly. That means you could be sitting someplace and then all of a sudden everything is moving. And you don't know it's moving unless you're focusing on one thing that is not moving. And then you all of a sudden you see like a ripple. Ooh. Then you may feel like dizzy, not lethargic. But if you're sitting down, you know, you're not gonna fall down. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all don't think that you could just be somewhere and then be somewhere else instantly. Somebody believes, right, because they think they are a supreme being, right? They believe that I have to go to sleep to be somewhere else. Imagine that. Like, you know, they feel like they say stuff like Ether is not here because she hasn't went to sleep yet. Like this is how all this misinformation gets printed and people consume it eons later and feel like it's factual. When I told y'all that y'all blocked off all of your protection, and it wasn't by haphazard, because they done told you that the underworld is a bad thing. And then everything at the top is light. And so everything at the top got a spotlight on you. I'm going to talk about, in this chapter of my life, the effects of ascension. Who did what is happening because they did it, and why you're not in your rightful place. Sometimes zeros will have you stuck. You know what happens when you accumulate zeros in the wrong place? They come in and take it. And then at the end of it all, you're just sitting there and you're saying, I did not ascend. I don't have anything. I gotta watch my back constantly. You know, what I hope is that the professional people, I'm talking about real professionals, not self-proclaimed researchers, researchers, you know, the ones that talk to you in your mind and say, if you do this, if you say this, they're programming you. This is something way more diabolical than television. Y'all don't get it. If I had a chance to sit with a professional person that, would want to ask me questions, for the right amount, I would do it. Because that's what some of y'all respect. There's not going to be nothing to bounce off of because there's no other like me. So that means I will be in her story accurately, right? And then a trion from now, it will be a staple. My thoughts today will be a staple trion from now. That means they're going to say that this is a fact because Ether Saragisias said it. It's bold. Now, while we are all here, I just want to thank God for everything that you're doing for me. Thank you, Jesus. I had to add that in, y'all, because that's a part of a timeline that I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Let's just dissect what I just said, right? Excuse me, Big G. That is it. Listen, y'all don't get it. When Grandma, Nana, whatever you choose to call her, said, "Thank you, Jesus," she already knew that there was a difference between the big G and the little G. You didn't. And see, this is a part of the problem when you listen but you don't hear. Case in point, you don't know if she was actually talking to Jesus or not. Because all you know is grandma sit and talk to herself all the time, but you don't know if somebody talking to her or not. You know? You know what I'm talking about? When she says stuff like I'm talking to my sister, I'm talking to my husband. I know my husband is here. And she calling him by his name, her name, or whatever. Y'all just, it's spiritual, not religious, it's spiritual. Because if you were to do that in a 501c3, you know what I'm talking about, especially the professional people, if you were to do that there, they would say you need to go into an institution. The timeline for them exercising things off of you is no more. I said that we needed to bring that back. I'm telling y'all. Y'all do know that it was a timeline for that. Where the apostles, not the diocese, would come in and they would exercise demanashi, not demons, because you are the demon. You know what I'm talking about? Off of you. It comes from when you are in a certain realm in your mind. You're in a certain realm in your mind and you're communicating with things. Not the big G, because that timeline didn't do it. Some of y'all feel like you should be able to talk to the big G. You know, because of the way I ascended, and I told you, this lifetime in this body, ascension has been since I was thought about. So that means the big G said, sugar and spice and everything nice with a little bit of isikinasa inside. And then, ploop, I was planted. You know, imagine that. Some of you practicing medical isikinas understand that even when you are cultivating, because that's what it is, you are being, even without a heart, without a lung. And so, what is happening when you are inside the belly? So many want to know. You are convening with the big G. He's talking to you, playing with you. What happens? You go through that portal, the vagina. Oh, now you understand that portals are dual. You go through, and if you have a Hasakania on you, which everyone in this life does, that means that whatever they prophesized over you when you were being thought about is so. Now, I talk about this in my craft when I say that if you did not go through the birth canal, then you are not subject to what they prophesized. Those are the ones that have vivid dreams. They can remember past lives. This is not something that I got from any institution or the great Bobby Hemmett. You got to put the great there. I feel that way about Dr. Delbert Blair also, because he had a doctorate. If you were to dissect their tutelage, you would know that that was spiritual content. Now, it's others that dibble-dabbled in there, but not like the great Bobby Hemmett that I know of. It could be some that never made it on camera. Could you imagine being in a facility with men and women like that? The energy that is circulating there? They would surely want to harness that, but they can't. That is it.